Election day, almost here. Who's leading in the polls for San Diego mayor? New numbers are out tonight. And a judge's ruling may keep trainers at SeaWorld's Shamu show out of the water. I'm Dwayne Brown. Also tonight, the emotional debate over taxing cigarettes lit up on our roundtable. KPBS Evening Edition starts now. 5 days left till Election Tuesday, and new polling shows the San Diego mayor's race is still a close one. KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr is looking at the latest numbers and joins us from the News Center. The poll, Katie, comes from our media partner 10 News and Survey USA. What do the results show?
Well, the results show Republican City Councilman Carl DeMaio holding steady in first place. Democratic Congressman Bob Filner and Independent Assemblyman Nathan Fletcher, who were tied in the last poll, both went up a few points, although Filner surged 7 points to bring him into a solid second place. District Attorney Bonnie Dumanis trails the others in fourth place.
And this new survey also looked at support for the pension reform measure Prop B. What did it find?
It found that a majority of likely voters would support the measure. That seeks to change most new city employees from a pension to a 401k, and it would also freeze or attempt to freeze the base pay of current employees for 5 years. It's a measure that's been fiercely opposed by labor unions.
KPBS Metro reporter Katie Orr. The San Diego job market and consumer confidence grew significantly in the first quarter of the year. 5 of the 6 economic indicators from the University of San Diego Index were up in March. It shows a steady improvement in the economy between November and March 2012. Claims for unemployment benefits were down 5 months in a row, and companies posted more help wanted ads. Building permits remain mostly flat. Local stock prices were unchanged in March, but were actually up nearly 15% in the first quarter. The index was delayed 2 months because of data from the construction industry. The economic recovery in San Diego is expected to pick up towards the end of the year. Governor Jerry Brown and other statewide elected officials are getting a pay cut. A state panel that sets pay and health benefits approved a 5% reduction today. Lawmakers' pay will be reduced to about $90,500 a year, and the governor's salary drops to about $165,000 a year beginning in December. The pay cut won't make much of a dent in California's nearly $16 billion deficit. Killer whale trainers at SeaWorld San Diego may remain out of the water for good during Shamu shows. An administrative law judge says trainers must be protected after one died in Orlando 2 years ago. The judge says there was no intentional disregard of safety and reduced the fine against the marine park. SeaWorld says they're still reviewing the ruling. San Diego's taking a long look at one of the city's ongoing problems, our water supply. Council member Sherry Leitner is leading a task force to explore more ways to conserve our limited resource. KPBS business and environment reporter Eric Anderson joins us from the News Center. He's been following this story. What kinds of ideas are they looking at, Eric?
Well, they're looking at some strategies that are obvious, using more recycled water, capturing rainwater in collection systems to use for irrigation, even changing those outdoor landscapes so they use less water. Some of the ideas the panel is going to look at are controversial. That's expanding desalination, so less water needs to be imported, and possibly moving forward with ideas like toilet to tap, retreating used water and pumping it back into underground aquifers. And then some ideas that have been discussed for a long time, like rewarding people who conserve with lower water rates.
And who else is on this panel?
Well, there are stakeholders from a lot of areas, business people from the healthcare field, life sciences, economic development officials, tourism and legal officials. The group also includes environmental and ratepayer advocates and a prominent climate researcher from the Scripps Institution of Oceanography.
And what's the goal of the task force?
The 10-member panel needs to come up with some solid recommendations for the council to roll back the region's reliance on imported water. San Diego can import up to 90% of its water during certain parts of the year, and Councilmember Sherry Leitner hopes to be able to roll that back to zero. She says she wants aggressive but realistic goals that the council can adopt.
KPBS reporter Eric Anderson. The USS Kurtz leaves San Diego on its final deployment tomorrow morning. The guided missile frigate will work to deter drug traffickers in the Atlantic. When it returns in 6 months to San Diego, the Kurtz will be decommissioned. California voters will decide whether to raise taxes on cigarettes in the June primary Tuesday. Joanne Farian is talking about the implications of the measure over at the roundtable.
If you've been confused by the Prop 29 television ads, you're not alone. Doctors in white coats telling you Prop 29 is bad for California. Well, on the yes side, cancer survivors urging voters to support the initiative. Take a look.
I'm against smoking, so I thought Prop 29 was a good idea. Then I read it. It raises $735 million in tobacco taxes. But not one penny goes to new funding for cancer treatment. Instead, it creates a huge new research bureaucracy with no accountability, run by political appointees who can spend our tax dollars in other states.
It's this simple. A yes vote on Prop 29 will save lives, provide cancer research money, and keep our kids from smoking.
Prop 29 will lead to a 13.7% decrease in youth smoking.
Proposition 29 will help save the state almost $6 billion.
A yes on 29 will fund research for tobacco-related illnesses.
If it wasn't for cancer research, I might not be alive today.
Joining me is Deborah Kelly, Senior Director of Advocacy and Health Initiatives with the American Lung Association, and Jennifer Jacobs with Americans for Prosperity. Now, let's start with you, Deborah. You, of course, support Prop 29. Tell us, what does it do and why is it a good thing for California?
Well, basically, Prop 29 will raise the tax on tobacco products. So if you smoke cigarettes, you'll pay $1 more a pack. 75 cents of that will go into research into tobacco-related diseases like cancer, stroke, heart disease, emphysema. 20 cents will go into programs that will keep kids from smoking and help people quit smoking. 3 cents will go to law enforcement, and then administrative costs will be capped at 2 cents.
2 cents. Okay. Jennifer, you don't like Prop 29. How come?
Well, we believe that this is a flawed initiative and that it's just another tax increase that creates a whole other bureaucracy that's not accountable to taxpayers. Right now, the state of California, run by Sacramento politicians, has got us in a $16 billion deficit right now. Over the course of the last 4 years, $20 billion has gone unfunded in education, even more in healthy family programs. And just creating one more government bureaucracy that is filled with political appointees by those same Sacramento.
How is this not accountable, though? If what Deborah just told us, where this is where the money goes, 2% to administration, how is this just another government bureaucracy?
Well, but there is no oversight to this whatsoever. There is no one that is going to ever be able to say, how do you know? How do we guarantee that it is true? There is nothing in here because you don't have any oversight by any taxpayers and no oversight to where there's ever going to be a public hearing where these people can be fired by the taxpayers if they're not doing their job.
So does your group not like the tax, or does it not like the fact that there's no oversight? Because I know that the history of your group in terms of the Americans for Prosperity has a history of not supporting any kind of initiative that would ban cigarette smoking in the workplace, that would increase. I mean, this is what the group does, though.
Okay, no, and let's make this very clear. What you're talking about is something. I mean, I worked in the legislature when the cigarette ban went through, and this organization didn't even exist back then. So let's be clear.
Well, it actually. I mean, your organization has.
In California, Americans for Prosperity in California has 100,000 members in California. We don't receive money from our national counterpart, and the California Americans for Prosperity is opposed to anything that does not hold Sacramento politicians accountable for the budget deficits that they have created and the fact that taxpayers have been left holding the bag for their wasteful spending. And so what we do not want is any more taxes that go to flawed initiatives and Band-Aid approaches to solving the problems. Of course, we support cancer research, but what we want to make sure is that the money that goes into the state coffers is accountable. And right now, there is nothing in the state that is accountable. And the last thing we ever want to do is have more political appointees by those same Sacramento politicians that have gotten us into this
I want to give Deborah a chance to respond to this and then follow up on some of what you said as well.
Yes, yeah. You know, a lot of these arguments actually have nothing to do with Prop 29 whatsoever. You know, this doesn't have anything to do with Sacramento politicians. It doesn't have anything to do with addressing the deficit. It's not intended to. We have built in a lot of safeguards to protect this money from being stolen away by the legislators because we understand the temptation that that represents. Now, as far as accountability, there will be a 9-person commission that will oversee all of the expenditures. These are not going to be politicians. They're going to be people like the chancellors of the University of California system, the heads of the NCI-funded cancer centers, 2 patient advocates, a physician, and there will be yearly audits by the state of California, and everyone will know exactly where all of the money goes, just as everyone knows exactly where the money goes from our current Prop 99 funding.
I just want to step in there because I want to talk a little bit about who's funding this campaign, because it has been a contentious issue that we know that the tobacco industry, in fact, has funded No Against Prop 29, $40 million, 4-to-1 in terms of funding. Do you think that what the No to Prop 29 campaign makes, the arguments that you make, are somewhat tainted because this No is being funded by the tobacco industry?
Well, I mean, as a representative of Americans for Prosperity, I don't work for that campaign, and nor do I get paid by that campaign. I am a volunteer with Americans for Prosperity, and I'm a taxpayer advocate. And what I'm saying to you is that there is this panel, this commission they're talking about, this whole thing is flawed because it's all appointed by Sacramento politicians. This isn't appointed by taxpayers. This is appointed by Sacramento politicians, the people that have gotten us into this problem. And we can't do, if there are flaws in this, if there are flaws beyond what we've already been talking about, if the money isn't spent the way, we can't do anything about it until 2027. I'm
going to have to step in there because we are out of time, but I do want to send people to kpbs.org because there's a much longer conversation with both of you on the radio with Maureen Cavanaugh. Also, we will link so people can read about this. They can see for themselves what this is all about. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can find all of our election coverage, including our online voter guide, on our website at kpbs.org/election. The California Assembly passed a bill to make it easier for women to get birth control pills. It allows registered nurses, nurse practitioners, and midwives to provide the pills. Opponents say nurses don't have the expertise to prescribe these medications, but the bill's author says those caregivers are the only option for many women. The measure now goes to the state Senate. A new survey says most California voters say yes to medical marijuana, but half of those polled say no to recreational use of pot. The USC poll found 80% support medical marijuana for the terminally ill and severely disabled. The survey comes on the heels of a mistrial of a San Diego man who operated a dispensary. Joanne is talking with him at the roundtable.
The operator of a medical marijuana dispensary in San Diego got his day in court and won, or at least he didn't lose. Dexter Padilla was charged with possession and cultivation of marijuana last year. He is president of Therapeutic Healing Corporation, which provided medical pot to 3,000 users. Dexter Padilla joins me now, along with Eugene Davidovich, San Diego spokesperson for the medical marijuana advocacy group, Americans for Safe Access. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you for having us.
So, Dexter, first of all, start us off. Give us a little bit of background. You had this dispensary, 3,000 patients.
Yeah, our dispensary is located in La Jolla, and we had 3,000 patients, and our cultivating was done off-site in San Marcos, and that's where I was arrested and charged for possession with intent to sell and also cultivation.
And I want to hear a little bit about your background, too. You're a Navy vet. How did you get involved with selling medical marijuana?
Well, actually, I was approached by other qualified members. I run a successful real estate brokerage at the time, and so I was also a qualified patient at the time. So we all just kind of came together and said, hey, you know what, this is the best way to do it. Let's do it legal. And they went ahead and told me that I should be the president based on my business background, and so that's where it started.
Qualified user because you were in a car accident, right?
That is correct. Yeah, back in I believe it was 95, I got into a bad accident, broke my back. Luckily, I was still able to serve my time in the military, and that's how I became a qualified patient.
Okay, so Eugene, let's pick up the story there. What happened in the court?
Well, the jury came back with a deadlock. They were not able to reach a verdict. It was a mistrial, and following the fact that the jury could not reach a decision, Judge Parsky ruled it a mistrial and dismissed the refiling of the charges in the interest of justice. So even after the trial was dismissed and the charges were cleared, the district attorney's office came back and attempted to refile the charges again, and this time the judge stepped in and said, no more waste of our taxpayers' dollars. The arguments that you introduced were bordering disingenuous, and I'm dismissing this case in the interest of justice. And that's really a huge victory for medical marijuana throughout the state.
I think part of your defense case was there are actually a set of rules in the state of California that say if you want to do this, then you have to do A, B, and C. So absolutely. In the end, you were proving that you were following the rules.
Absolutely, and it's just that. We did try to do above board than what was required in the CUA or the Medical Marijuana Program Act.
Now, you're not the first person in San Diego County who's been actually charged or whose dispensary was shut down. So, Eugene, this is really something that's been happening throughout the county. Is this the first test case?
No, there's been several, and that's the really surprising part, that the San Diego District Attorney's Office continues to prosecute these cases. What they're doing is using the procedure as the actual punishment itself. From the onset of the case, it was clear that a jury would never reach a verdict in this case. It should have never been tried. It should have never gotten this far. But the fact that it did, the fact that they keep filing charges against patients who are in compliance with state law is showing that they're using the procedure as a way to punish people.
What happens next? Like, what will this mean for future charges or future cases?
Well, what it shows is that any case where a patient goes out of his way, like Dexter Padilla did, to comply with state law, to pay his taxes, to really do everything the right way, that no jury would ever convict or find that person guilty of a crime, because there isn't a crime that
Although we have to point out it was a hung jury. And now this isn't sort of the only wrinkle, though, in this story. We know that federally this is against the law, still against the law. And you've still got federal prosecutors who are also shutting down medical marijuana dispensaries. Can you sort of give us an update on that?
Yes, unfortunately, the courts have ruled on this issue before. Federal law does not trump state law on medical marijuana, and even though the feds can come in and do what they're trying to do in wasting, resources on punishing folks that are in unambiguous compliance with state law, the state still has a right to regulate this issue, to license collectives, to allow patients who truly need their medicine
I think
to
that's
get
still,
it.
though, and might be an undecided question. I know when the city attorney was here, he did not necessarily agree, I think, with your take on the law that, that somehow the state law trumped federal law. But I do want to ask you, Dexter, I used past tense to describe the customers that you had. So has your operation shut down, though, in effect?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we also had to deal with a civil litigation as well, and the city, we had to shutter our doors, and so that took place just right before our trial. So right now, we don't have a place of business. We're kind of running around. We have 3,000 members that are trying to find safe access, and there's not really a place for them to go.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. We have more about this story on our website, kpbs.org. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
Thank you.
The state Senate has approved restrictions on red light cameras. They could only be used for public safety and not to generate revenue from traffic fines. Local governments would also have to post warning signs within 200 feet of an intersection with cameras. The measure now goes to the State Assembly. Well, a lot has changed about the San Diego housing market in the past decade, but one thing remains the same. Southwestern Riverside County is still an attractive community for San Diego workers, but the appetite for big homes at the price of a long commute may not last. KPBS reporter Tom Fudge has the story.
First, to check on traffic.
Up the coast for slowdown.
You head south in the morning, north in the afternoon. The landscape is I-15 and its gauntlet of exit signs, which mark the time it takes you to get to work in San Diego or home to Temecula. The one-way commute takes you at least an hour, and you pass the time as best you can.
I may listen to sports talk radio, Kogo, Pandora radio, or sometimes I'm making business phone calls on my Bluetooth, of course.
When you work in San Diego, the price of living in Temecula is the long commute. The payback is decent schools and houses like these. Several thousand square foot homes that you can buy for literally hundreds of thousands of dollars less than what you would find in San Diego.
Now, what do you do?
Nathaniel Buggs moved to Murrieta, just north of Temecula, 7 years ago.
My wife made the decision. She felt that the neighborhoods up here were good neighborhoods, and it was an opportunity to expand on the size of our home.
He now lives with his family of 5 in a house that's 3,800 square feet, for which he paid a little over $500,000. He thinks the same home in San Diego County would have been at least $300,000 more.
Let's say if you wanted to live in San Diego and you wanted to live in northeast San Diego County.
Russ Vallone, CEO of Market Point Realty Advisors, says the home price difference that has driven San Diego workers to live in Riverside County is still a huge motivation.
Well, if you looked at that area combined in San Diego County, you're going to pay well over $500,000 and some odd for a new home. If you go into West Riverside County, you can buy that same size detached home for the mid-200,000s.
But the forces that have made the Temecula area a bedroom community for San Diego are showing signs of change. For one thing, the high cost of gas has substantially reduced the affordability of the commute. And then there's the effort to actually keep workers in Temecula. Morris Myers runs the economic development group that serves the area. He says about 68% of the people in the region commute elsewhere to work, the vast majority of them heading south to San Diego. But he says it's in the interest of everyone to reduce the traffic on the I-15 by creating jobs in South Riverside County.
Not try and take companies from San Diego County and bring them to Riverside County, but to have them when they grow, when they need satellite companies, satellite locations and things like that, to think in terms of moving up here so that their employees that were already here wouldn't necessarily have to commute.
The part of the Temecula area workforce that stays in town from 9 to 5 may work at Abbott Vascular, which makes stents, or International Rectifier, a maker of computer chips. Vallone says jobs follow rooftops, and the longer Temecula has a strong resident workforce, the more likely it is to stop being a bedroom community. But there's another factor at work here: changing values. Some Temecula residents talk about having a home so large there are rooms they don't even use. Others add up the time they spend on the road that they don't spend with their families. Vallone says that's made an impression on younger people.
When you start looking at the echo boomers, they're the ones whose parents commuted. They saw the sacrifices that their parents made in terms of family time together, in terms of, how much wear and tear it was on either mom or dad to commute distances to work. I don't think they're going to be as willing to do it.
One family whose story illustrates that change of heart is the Coburns. Native San Diegans, Roger, Lisa, and their son Kyle had moved to Hemet, just east of Temecula, when Roger's construction planning job drew them there during the housing boom. When the housing bust arrived, Roger's job disappeared, and he ended up doing something that's also common in southwest Riverside County, making the even longer commute to L.A.
We just didn't get to see him much, and when we did get to see him, he was tired. And it got to be school conferences, I had to do all on my own, sports I had to do all on my own, and it really got to be hard on the family.
But Roger eventually found a job in San Diego. So the Coburns left their 2,500 square foot house and moved back to the 1,000 square foot house they still owned in University Heights. The downsize has brought some sacrifices.
For Roger, he had to give up his garage, which was a really big deal.
But now he has a 5-minute commute to work.
What a difference, be able to come home at lunch, eat, and maybe even turn on, watch the news or whatever for a few minutes versus 2.5 hours of driving.
For San Diego workers, the choice is clear: a house in San Diego or a house in Temecula, and everything in between.
KPBS reporter Tom Fudge. We checked at riversidegasprices.com and found the average for a gallon of regular is $4.23 in Temecula. A new commuter plane with Aztec pride was unveiled at Lindbergh Field today. It's painted with the red and black of the San Diego State University. The Aztec is part of a fleet of college-themed planes flown by Alaska Airlines. Tonight in the public square, the final Mayoral Forum is taking place right now at the University of San Diego. Joanne Farian is moderating the event, sponsored by the San Diego La Raza Lawyers Association. The forum will focus on Latino issues. We'll have complete coverage tomorrow on KPBS Radio and KPBS.org. And Joanne will be back on the public square tomorrow night with highlights of the event. You can weigh in on the conversation by following us on Twitter, liking us on Facebook, and of course you can always email us. And you can watch and comment on any of the stories you saw tonight on our website, kpbs.org/evening edition. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.